What is going to happen in the 2024 real estate market here in the state of Utah? Well, in today's video, we're talking just that. If you don't know who Bill Ackman is, he's one of the smartest and richest investors of our time. And in today's video, I'm showing you exactly what his predictions are for the 2024 real estate market. And his predictions are usually spot on.
There's a general consensus in the United States, in some circles, that we probably have avoided a recession for the near future. We're going to have a so-called soft landing. That's the consensus. Is that your view as well?
I think it's really hard to predict. I do think the economy is weakening. We're seeing, evidence of that in some of our companies. You're seeing, I have some concerns. There's been a huge subsidy in terms of low interest rates, and most companies fix their rates or their debt at very low rates, and certainly real estate investors did the same. And that works until it doesn't work. And so I think what's going to be interesting is to see what happens when people have to reprice their debt. And I think that can have sort of a cliff-like effect. And you're certainly seeing that in real estate.
Now, the markets are assuming, and the markets are not always right, but the markets are assuming that there's going to be a Fed discount cut sometime next year. And as we talk now, just about the end of November, it's not clear what the Fed will do, but some people say that the Fed, if they were to cut interest rates next year, would help the Democrats and therefore be seen as very political. On the other hand, some people say the Fed can't wait till after the election because the economy might need a stimulus. So you have a view on what the Fed's likely to do?
I think they're going to cut rates, and I think they're going to cut rates sooner than people expect, because what's happening is the real rate of interest, ultimately, which is what impacts the economy, keeps increasing as inflation declines, right? So if the Fed keeps rates in the sort of middle fives, and inflation is trending below 3%, or that's a very high real rate of interest, and I think that is having a sort of retarding effect on the economy. And then, of course, again, many businesses and certainly many individuals have the benefit of fixed rate debt. And that fixed rate debt, certainly for companies and for commercial real estate, starts to roll off. So I think there's a risk of a hard landing if the Fed doesn't start cutting rates pretty soon. So I think the market expects sometime middle of next year. I think it's more likely probably as early as Q1.
By its own admission, the Fed probably missed inflation initially. They said it was transitory, but they've played catch-up and they've increased rates considerably since that time. Do you think the Fed made a mistake in not handling inflation differently in the beginning? And how do you think they've done since they started increasing interest rates?
They certainly made a mistake. I mean, I think the Fed generally as an institution would admit that. I think that they caught up effectively, so you give them credit for acknowledging the mistake and being pretty aggressive. And then I think, you want to make sure that they're, Chairman Powell's desire not to have a legacy of causing or contributing to long-term inflation doesn't, cause them to make the opposite mistake. I mean, keep rates too high for too long. And I think the market expectation is, it's called middle of next year, July, something like this, for the beginnings of easing. I think the economy will likely demand an earlier move. And I don't think of the Fed or at least this Fed, as a particularly political institution. I think they're really trying to do the right thing.
Well, there you have it. Bill Ackman is a smart guy, and he usually gets things right, and his predictions have been pretty accurate in the past. So he's predicting that the Fed is going to decrease interest rates. And his prediction is at the beginning of 2024 versus the middle or end of 2024. So we can start seeing interest rates drop as early as Q1. So what does this mean? There is a buyer demand of almost 3 years of buyers who have been waiting to get into the real estate market and haven't been able to due to prices back in 2020. And then last year and a half or so, they haven't got into the real estate market because of the interest rates. Now, if the interest rates drop in Q1, this is going to bring a flood of buyers into the real estate market and drive sales in the real estate market. This is also going to result in home prices going back up and increasing. So there's lots of it's a big impact this is going to have on the real estate market if interest rates do drop. Now I know a lot of people are wanting to get the best interest to get their their payment lowered and whatnot. But at the end of the day, keep in mind that this reserve of buyers that have been waiting to buy a home for the last few years is going to cause not only multiple offers when it comes to purchasing a home, but having to bid on homes over the asking price, having to waive your inspection and appraisal like we did during 2020. So that's huge, right? And right now, with the interest rates are sitting at about a 7%, there's still time to be able to negotiate and be able to find these deals in the current real estate market. But keep in mind, to take this information, and do it with what you think is going to be best for you and your situation. If you have any questions about, the current real estate market, or have any questions about specific homes here in the area, or how we can help you, don't hesitate to reach out. All of my contact information is below. You can call me, text me, or email me. You can also book a call with me directly down below. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. You can leave the questions in the comments. Do whatever you need to do. But don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and then I'll see you on the next one.